If you don't recognize this guy, consider yourself fortunate. This is Vitali, a once popular streamer who now faces up to 25 years in a Philippine prison. And yes, unfortunately, this is real. But for once, it feels like the internet is finally turning a corner. Justice is actually catching up to some of the worst people online. We're seeing bans, arrests, and consequences for creators who honestly should have been taken down ages ago. It's like a breath of fresh air. Finally, those who treat content creation like a license to harass are getting what's coming. Governments around the world seem to be cracking down on what may be the internet's most toxic trend: public menace streamers. The countries these people travel to, often thinking they can get away with anything, are finally saying enough is enough. Just recently, we saw Johnny Somali get hit with serious legal trouble, and now, another name from the past is facing real consequences after years of dodging accountability. That's right, unfortunately, today we are talking about the absolute loser, Vitali. Now, if you don't know who Vitali is, he's one of the OG YouTube pranksters who, surprisingly, given his history of being a douchebag to people in public from the beginning of his internet career, eventually went down the public nuisance streamer pipeline where all of his content slowly devolved into him walking around in public, harassing people in countries where he thinks he's not going to get in trouble for harassing people. And recently, it backfired just a touch. And when I say backfired just a touch, I mean that the man may have genuinely thrown his life away for this content. Just a couple of weeks ago, Vitali found himself in serious trouble after being arrested in the Philippines, and things are looking incredibly grim for him. He's now facing the very real possibility of spending the next 25 years of his life behind bars in a foreign prison. If you haven't been following the situation, here's the short version. On April 3rd, which also happens to be my birthday by the way, Vitali was taken into custody and hit with a surprising list of charges. Among them are unjust vexation, alarm and scandal, and attempted theft. Now, unjust vexation might sound like something pulled out of a sitcom, and honestly, it's probably one of the silliest legal terms I've ever heard. But ironically, there may be no one more fitting for a charge like that than Vitali himself. At first glance, especially from a Western perspective, those charges might not seem like a big deal. In the US, they might amount to a fine, maybe a slap on the wrist. But the story takes a much darker turn once you realize how seriously the Philippine government is taking this. Their Interior Secretary made it clear they will not be deporting Vitali back to the US to be dealt with over here. They're handling this entirely on their own turf, and they've shown zero intention of letting him off easy. In fact, they're keeping him in custody while he awaits trial, which could take anywhere from 2 to 3 years to even begin. And during that entire time, he won't be in a regular jail. He'll be held at the Bureau of Immigration Detention Facility, a notoriously tough place to be. That alone is a nightmare scenario, but the bigger picture looks even worse. There's a growing sense that the Philippine authorities want to make an example out of him. The case has received attention all the way up to the president, and the government seems intent on sending a strong message. And honestly, it's hard to blame them. I'm beyond tired of content creators who think they're above the law just because they have a camera and a following. It's already a growing issue here in the US, but it gets way more embarrassing when these so-called influencers travel abroad and act like laws and basic decency don't apply to them. And yes, 25 years in a foreign prison does sound harsh, especially for what some would call just being dumb. But when you look at everything this guy's done, it's nearly impossible to feel bad. This is a 33-year-old man, not some clueless teenager, and the list of stunts and crimes just keeps going. In the Philippines alone, he's harassed strangers for reactions, pretended to rob a woman as a joke, stolen everything from a security guard's hat to a restaurant fan to an actual motorcycle. He's broken into businesses, rammed into pedestrians, hit other vehicles, and tried windsurfing, then retaliated against the business when it didn't go his way by urging followers to leave fake bad reviews. And that's not even half of it. His problematic behavior spans years. He's faked being a cop in videos, been arrested for bomb threat pranks, streaked at major sporting events like the World Cup and the NBA, climbed restricted landmarks like the Pyramids of Giza, and was even arrested for violently attacking a woman. It's honestly wild that he hasn't faced serious consequences before now. Why American authorities haven't stepped in at any point is beyond me, but at the very least, someone is finally saying enough is enough. So, even if the sentence feels a bit extreme, I'm honestly glad that some countries' authorities are finally putting their foot down. This kind of behavior is already a big enough problem as it is. If we keep letting these guys do whatever they want, it won't be long before anyone with a phone and a shaky moral compass starts harassing people just to go viral. It's already bad on TikTok. There are so many people doing this kind of thing and making real money from it. I don't even understand why people enjoy watching it, but at some point, a line has to be drawn. Anyways, back to what Vitaly's got ahead of him. Like we mentioned, it seems like he's probably going to be spending the next couple of years of his life in the Bureau of Immigration Detention facility, which, as mentioned, not a place you want to be. It has a capacity of 140 detainees, and as of 5 years ago, it had 418, and considering that it hasn't been under maximum capacity since 2002, I think it's safe to assume that the population is even higher today. This place has been accused many times of abuse of human rights. It's been compared to the Gulag, and since it's a detention center in the Philippines, there's no constitutional right to bail, which means Vitaly is stuck there until his trial. Now, as much as I dislike Vitaly, I think some people are taking this way too far, almost celebrating it, and they really shouldn't be. Let's keep our heads here. No one deserves to be held in a prison camp-like setting while they're still awaiting trial. He hasn't even been found guilty yet. There are definitely innocent people in that detention facility. So maybe let's not cheer for inhumane conditions just because it's someone we don't like. You get what I mean? That said, I still don't exactly feel bad for him. If he does get sentenced, things probably won't improve much. The Philippines isn't the worst place to go to prison, but it's far from ideal. A lot of their facilities are extremely overcrowded, which is a huge issue if you're facing a long-term stay. Overcrowding brings resource shortages, not enough food, hygiene products, or even space. It's just not a good situation. I don't think he'll get 20 or 40 years, but he's likely going to serve some time. And whatever it ends up being, it won't be pleasant. And even if, by some miracle, he avoids jail time, things still aren't looking great for him. There's already a global petition to get him banned from all major social media platforms. So even after all this, if he somehow walks free, it doesn't look like he'll have much of an audience left. No matter how this plays out, his life has changed permanently. Again, just to be clear, I'm not saying we should throw people into inhumane prisons, but these guys do need to start facing real consequences. You shouldn't be able to profit from harassing people and making their day worse just for content. Something needs to change. So, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen to Vitaly? Do you think the sentence is fair? Like I said, I'm not a fan of his, but 24 years is a lot for what we know he's done. It's hard to say what's actually fair when we don't even know the full list of charges yet, but a few years to reflect on everything he's done, that seems reasonable. Hopefully, all the platforms that still let this guy profit from his content go ahead and ban him already. Will that happen? Probably not, but hey, a man can dream.